So for this demo, what we're going to do, put yourself in the shoes of a store manager that's analyzing profit for a bookstore in Florida. Okay, you've been told that summer's coming up and we should expect a summer bump in sales. Okay, and so you start to see that as well in what we have on the far right grid and visualization is that's a report that's at the month level and at the profit level. Okay, so it's reporting the profit details. And you can see in the green, there's actually over a couple of the summer months, we are seeing a bump in profit. Okay, and now if you're a good store manager, you know that there's a lot more to the number profit than just that number, right? You know that there could be an increase in revenue, there could be a decrease in cost, so you want to be able to drill down at that level. But you also want to be able to drill down a little bit further than month, right? You maybe at the week level, maybe at the day level. But you also know that maybe that's data that's pretty expensive to store in a database. And so what you know is that somebody down the hall is storing data, and he's begun to store day level data with cost and revenue within HDFS. But then you remember, oh shoot, John, your big data cluster admin, is on spring break with his kids, and he's unavailable to help you actually load this data into Hive, right? And that's when you remember, David at MicroStrategy World was telling me about this new Hadoop Gateway that is going to allow us to publish a cube directly from files in HDFS, okay? So this is from the perspective of an end user. You're going to think, how did we get to some of these different workflows? And I'm going to backtrack in maybe 10 or 15 minutes where you're going to start to see how we actually install, how we actually configure. But this is from an end user's perspective once it's already set up. So let me kind of begin here. So you're in here, you click on Florida, you see that Florida also experiences this summer bump in sales. So what you want to do is from your data import interface, add external data, navigate over to Hadoop. And let's assume that the gateway has already been configured and you can actually browse this HDFS file system. And a few things that I want to highlight about the file system is that we support multiple files to be published now. We support Avro, Org, Parquet, JSON files, CSV files, text files that you can publish. Also, security is maintained in this file browsing. If you're hovering over a specific folder and you do not have access, you'll only be able to click on it. You won't be able to actually drill in and see what's underneath that folder. The final thing that's probably pretty exciting is that when the folder is saved with the file extension, it can be dragged over to the data import interface. And in this case, the daily transaction folder is the parent of all the transaction level data. And this is the cool part. As long as all of the underlying files have the same file structure, the cube will be published. At cube publication, the partitions will be unioned together into one table. So we get into the file and we see it's not exactly in the right format, but we don't have to reach out to the big data cluster admin. We can navigate to the data wrangling interface so that we can wrangle this data on the fly. And in this interface, we can add columns, we can manipulate columns, we can even add a preloaded script that we can apply to this Parquet file. And so now we can go back to the data set and ensure that the different columns will be imported properly. Here we can change the data type and convert attributes to metrics. And now we're going to start the cube publication process. So I'll save the details of kind of what's going on under the hood for right now, but you can navigate over to Ambari, or if any Cloudera users are in the room, you could go to Cloudera Manager, and you can see that the application is running. You can go in and you can actually view that the jobs have been kicked off and that the cube publication process is underway. And so once the cube is actually published, we're in business. We can link the month to the top data set, and now we have the top data set acting as a filter for the daily transaction data that we have just loaded into HDFS.